independence and all these rallies and so forth without also mentioning Mr. McCartney. I met John actually through this fight. You know, everywhere I went, no matter what it was, and I went to a lot of things. I'm there to as many events as I can possibly make it to. There's John, without fail, every single time. The man is relentless, and it doesn't matter that he's usually the guy coming from the furthest distance. He makes sure he is there. He's been with us in the halls of Harrisburg. He's been with us in the offices of all these legislators. He's been with us out in the cold, going door to door. He's been with us in the heat, going door to door. He's been with us protesting PSCA right out front in Harrisburg, which is, I'm particularly fond of that particular event. He was with us protesting Mike Terzai at Harper's Tavern, and he's there during all these town halls like you just saw right here, holding these people accountable. Now, during the most recent one that you just saw on your screen there, when the meeting began and I didn't see John, I was a little shocked. Dean told me, yeah, John McCartney and Grace, they're coming and to this meeting as well, as usual. And when I didn't see him there, I was a little worried. I was hoping he didn't get broken down on the highway or stranded or something like that. Well, as the meeting went on, we were standing there. I don't remember if it was Tom or Bryn, but kind of tapped me on the shoulder and said, hey, look. As you can see, there are windows behind Rob, and I looked, and through the windows, there's John's big lighted sign, strolling through the parking lot. The new property tax sign you probably saw in his truck out here. So he was there. He was just maybe a little late. So I've often wondered, where does this guy get all his energy? Where does he get the energy to do all this stuff all the time? Because I know where I get my energy. I get my energy because I'm pissed off and mad about it because our state government refuses to pass the single best bill that has come along in our lifetime and the single best, most vetted bill that has come along in our lifetime. And I get my energy from being mad about the constant expansion and overreach of government. But John, while I show up to these things with my game face on, he shows up with a big smile on his. So it must not be anger that drives John. So I'm not quite so sure what does. I think it's because John's a true patriot. I think that's what drives John. So as passions are running strong, and I'm there showing up with my game face on, he's there with his smile, and he's always telling a joke, or two, or maybe 50. He's always keeping the atmosphere light, and I've got to tell you, John, I don't know if I've ever told you this before, but I greatly appreciate that. I personally benefit from that. You are an inspiration to me, and I know you're an inspiration to folks around us, because I take this stuff pretty seriously. I get pretty wound tight, and it's great to have you there with the attitude that you bring with you. So in addition to his humor, John also brings a bunch of knowledge with him. So he's always got something to tell you about something that you've never heard of before, and he knows a little bit about pretty much anything. And one thing that I remember, he was telling me about some electronic doodad one time, and folks, I'm an electronic technician, and I had no idea what the man was talking about. No idea. So I had to wonder, John, are you dazzling me with brilliance or baffling me with,
Some of that too.
Some of that too. But anyway, but Nurse John, as he calls himself, is certainly full of knowledge, and you can all learn a thing or two from John, and that's exactly what we're going to do right here tonight. He's going to come up here and tell you how passing 76 compares to CPR of all things, and I don't know about you, but I can't wait to hear this. This can only be something that comes from the mind of Mr. John McCartney. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce a true patriot in the fight for our right to keep our own homes. Please welcome Mr. John McCartney.
Well, first things first, you have to learn how to say your name. You have to let it roll off your lips, you see. John Joseph McCartney, Jr. I am. I'm from the old side. And then we'll get along fine, as long as you know that much about them. At any rate, Ron.
Here, John, Jesus.
Testing, 1, 2, 3. Attention, Kmart Shepard.
Ron mentioned to you that I'd like to draw a comparison between CPR and House and Senate Bill number 76. Now, first of all, does everybody know what CPR is? How many of you have ever taken a CPR course? How come this room has all CPR graduates and this has nothing?
At any rate, for those of you who have taken a CPR course, you remember being told that it's possible, when you're doing the chest compression part of it, that you could easily crack ribs. And then those cracked ribs could possibly cut into the heart, the liver, and the lungs. And as soon as that was mentioned in any CPR course, a lot of those students in the group would say, oh, I don't want to do CPR tonight. I don't want to hurt the person anymore. Did I miss something? Why are you doing CPR? Because the person is not breathing. Their heart is not beating. Technically, they're dead. And if you do nothing, guess what? They stay dead. You get it? Okay. Now let's go to the Senate Bill and House Bill 76 comparison. We hear so often people say, oh, it'll never pass. Or I'm only one person. I mean, I can't make that much difference. And so they do nothing. If each one of us takes that same viewpoint, guess what? The bills will stay dead. They will not pass. We each have to do something. You get it? That's the relationship between the two. If we do nothing, the person stays dead in CPR. In political language, Senate and House bill will stay dead if we do nothing to help make it happen. I'll hand out something just a little bit later and we'll see what I'm talking about. The second thing I'd like to ask is, how many of you folks have ever been in any kind of a store, usually a food store, and either while going through the checkout line, you happen to notice what you believe is an overcharge, more than what the product actually costs? How many have ever noticed that while in the store? What? How come this side is always responding and that? Let me get over here. Are you folks alive over here? Okay. Nobody ever did that over this side, right? I don't know. At any rate, or maybe you didn't notice it in the store, but after you got home, you checked the receipt against the product that you had bought, and you're, oh, look at that. I know that was on sale, and they're charging me the straight price. Now, it didn't make any difference whether it happened in the store or after you got home. What did you do about it? When you were in the store, did you bring it to the attention of the clerk checking you out? Or did you ask to speak to the manager? When you got home, did you make that phone call back to the store and ask to speak to the manager? And how much of a difference? How much were you actually charged? And how much should you have been charged, prompt you to take that action? $1? $1 difference. Come on, hold up your hands. If $1 difference would make you do something about that. Okay.
Come on, we're from Berks County. We do it for 50 cents.
Would it take more than $1? How about $5? If you charge $5, how many people would make that call back? I see. Believe it or not, I had one group that the one woman called up because of a nickel. A nickel! Now, it took you to make that decision to do something about it. It took time to make that phone call, to state your case, to try and get that money back that you were in fact overcharged. Okay, now let's shift gears here a second. How many people know about House and Senate Bill number 76 and what that will do for you? Wow. Hey, now we got some action on this side. Very good. Okay, now I won't ask, but in your own minds, how many of you believe you're being overcharged on your school tax? Okay, how many of you have done something about it? Okay, fewer hands than you know you're being overcharged, but you haven't quite got around to doing something about it. I'll tell you what, there's a man, I'd lay down my life for that man, Mr. Dean Clark, okay? And his team with him. I'm very honored to be part of that team. I'm glad he took me along, even though he thought he might have to end up doing CPR me because I just turned 80 in November. Oh well, he has a conscience. Okay, the last little story I'd like to tell you, reason why you should get out there and really do something. And by doing something, I have some suggestions of what you can do. Now I'll ask folks over here to take care of these and pass around so everybody gets one, okay? Now, you care to pass one down to everybody over here? Let's see the goals. The goals of my presentation tonight is to try and light a fire under everybody. Even those who have already had a fire burn in your hindquarters already because of the school board taxes. But I'd like to light an additional fire and get everybody busy making something happen. Okay? Well, the flip side of that is how you can reach those goals that are on the front side. Does everybody here, or most people here, have access to a computer? Okay. For those who do not, go to your local library. Local libraries have computers, and they'll be very happy to bring up the website for you, the PTCC, that's Pennsylvania Taxpayers Cyber Coalition. You'll get a ton of information from that one website. And on the back, it tells you how to get certain information about your legislators. On the left-hand side of that web page, you'll see a number of links. Next to the last one, it says find your local legislator. And then when you click on it, it brings up another page then, and the sheet explains what you should position your, what do you call that thing when you move your mouse around? Cursor, there you go. Move your cursor around on the screen and position it in a certain position, and you can pull up all kinds of information about each and every, either a senator or a House representative. The one thing I like the most is when I call legislators who are not my legislators. They're from some different county or different township in my county. And as soon as one of the questions that they might ask, and by the way, you probably won't find yourself talking to that legislator. You'll talk to a secretary or someone who answers the phone in their office. And one of the questions they usually ask is, well, what's your address? And I'll tell them my address. And they'll say, oh, well, you have to see your local legislator. Yeah, I've already seen him or her. And the fact is, each one's vote counts for me, no matter where they are in the state. They can make or break a bill that will benefit or hurt me. And that happens to each one of you. So don't be afraid to call somebody outside your own local area. And you respond in that fashion. Whatever way they vote affects me. That's why I'm calling this office. Be ready to stand up for your rights. Okay? Last but not least, somebody sent me an email just last week, the very end of which had a phrase that was attributed to a gentleman who was an author, a historian, and a Unitarian minister. And I fell in love with that phrase. And I'll wait until everybody gets a copy of it so that we can all say it together. And remember what I have asked everybody to do. I've asked everybody to do something to help get this bill passed. Not just for your own personal selves, but for everybody in the state. In fact, even the state government. Because they're all going down that fiscal hellhole the way they're moving it right now. They need help because they evidently do not know what they are doing. Okay, everybody have a copy on that slim little piece of paper that was just handed out? Let's all say it together. I'm only one, but I am one. I can't do everything, but I can do something. And what I can do, I should do. And with the help of God, I will do. Please sit right. To finish up, I'll tell you about a little farmhouse. This is the third reason why you should do what we want you to do. Little farmhouse saw a delivery truck pull up in the driveway, and he wondered what was being delivered. He saw the delivery fellow get out of the truck with a tiny little package, and the mouse ran back in the farmhouse where he knew the farmer would sit at the kitchen table to open the package. Little mouse ran back in the kitchen, hid in one corner, and watched. The poor little mouse almost had a heart attack when he saw what was in the small package. It was a mouse trap. The poor little mouse ran outside, ran up to the chicken. Mouse trap in the house, mouse trap in the house. And the chicken said, well, I'll say a prayer for you, that's all I can do. One of those that'll never pass people. Get it, you know, about to set in the house bill. And so the little mouse ran up to the pig. Mouse trap in the house, mouse trap in the house. And the pig said, oh, it's not my problem, you're going to have to figure out how to deal with it. The little mouse ran up to the cow. Mouse trap in the house, mouse trap in the house. And the cow said, well, what did the chicken and the pig tell you? The little mouse told him, the cow said, well, I can't tell you anything different. The little mouse hung his head down and walked slowly back to the house thinking, boy, I'm going to have to watch every step I take down. And that night, when all was dark and quiet, and everybody had retired for the night, and shortly thereafter they all heard, snap! Oh, they thought they caught the mouse. So the farm wife got out of bed, she grabbed the flashlight had sort of double batteries in it. But she went to where she thought she had set the mousetrap up, only to discover they had caught the tail of a poisonous snake, which promptly bit the farm lady in the leg. And by the next morning, she was deathly ill. Now, what do you feed a sick person? The farmer took his axe, went out, grabbed that chicken, and chicken soup for his wife, right? That's what often we call that Jewish penicillin. At any rate, the lady did not get any better, she got worse. So friends and neighbors came in to help take care of the wife. And how do you feed all of those people? Farmer took his axe, there went the pig. Right? They feed all of them. Not only did the lady not get any better, she passed away. Now they had people coming in from out of state family to attend the funeral. How do you feed all of those people? You guessed it, there went the cow. The moral of the story is what is a potential problem for one of us might be an even greater problem for all of us. Let's try to work together to solve the problem.